last day we wanted to do the top 5 experiences of our trip to Japan. And yeah, we're going to do it. We'll do them at the same time.
Okay.
We'll do number 5 through 1, you know, sort of in an order.
Yeah.
All right, so number 5, you can start if you want.
All right. Number 5, the Picasso exhibit in Hakone. This was at actually the Hakone Outdoor Museum. This exhibit was actually inside, but it was very cool to see. It was a great representation of different phases of his life, and it's always neat to see original Picassos gathered in one place. So that was mine.
That is a good one.
I
had number 5. I had Miyajima. I just thought the whole day was so nice with like all the deer, and we got to. It was a little rush. I would have liked to have more time there, but it was cool to take the ferry over, and you know, all of a sudden there was just deer everywhere, and there's little food stalls, and there's a beautiful beach, and it's really nicer when the weather is a little bit nicer too. So
it was a great afternoon.
But yeah, it was fun, and there was sort of like a festival going on too. So there was a lot of like extra like street vendors and you know, performances and stuff, and it was just kind of a fun vibe. So Number 4.
My number 4, Totoro cream puffs at the Shirohige cream puff factory in Tokyo. This was something we did very early in the trip, I think on our first full day, and it was just a nice sort of entree to all of Japan. It had that sort of Ghibli charm about how just it was all designed, and the presentation, and
everything, like the presentation and everything is just like perfection, like all these little details and stuff that you wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, and I just thought it was a really, even though it meant you know, kind of a hike out to the west a bit. It was worth doing because I think it really helped me get in the mindset to really enjoy this trip.
Number 4, I have kaiseki style dinner in Kyoto. That was a really cool experience. We wanted to make sure that we experienced that, especially in Kyoto, because they have like a special, like a version of it. So we had spent a lot of time trying to get dinner reservations. We actually hired someone to make dinner reservations for us at this very exclusive place, and they did not have any availability. So I was a little disappointed by that. But we found a place, and then we made the reservation. I'm not sure.
We ended up making it ourselves, and but it was great. The chef was very skilled and friendly, as were his his, I guess, sous chef or whatever, the guys who were working for him. Yeah, it was an interesting
experience. You saw like kind of like ordering them sort of, not in a mean way, but just like to make sure that they were doing this and that. And
like
it almost looked like an apprenticeship, but I'm not sure exactly how it works. But they were preparing all this stuff, and as I said, the presentation on a lot of these dishes were very, very like just precise and almost like too nice to eat.
Yeah.
So. All right, number 3.
My number 3 is the Torii Gate climb in Kyoto.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Well, yeah, it was physically challenging, but you know, making it to the top, you know, demonstrating I could still do that was nice. But the climb itself is just, it's almost hypnotic going through.
But go early if you do it. Like, that is, go way before 10 o'clock. We went at like around like 9ish.
We got there
before 9, I think.
We got there just before 9, and it was already pretty crowded. If you hustle up, you can get to some less crowded areas.
Yeah, we were not there on a weekend either, so I have no idea what that situation's like. My number 3 is the private onsen in Hakone. That was definitely worth it. A private onsen overlooking and the snow coming down, and the weather ended up being perfect. It was just what we needed after running around Tokyo for so long.
Yeah.
We were just kind of tired and just sort of relaxing in that really hot, very, very hot onsen. It was like really cold that day and snowing and cold the day before.
Yeah.
That was a highlight. That was definitely worth anything we paid for that.
Staggering into that onsen, after it had been a long day just to get there, and it was so cold, and we were exhausted from running around Tokyo, and it was just the perfect interlude at that point. All right, number two. My number two is the other ryokan we stayed at, the Yuzuya Ryokan in Kyoto. This was all out traditional Japanese ryokan, the tatami floor, during the day a low table to sit and have tea at or whatever, and then while we were at dinner they pushed it aside and brought out the futon mattresses, and we slept on the floor, and it was surprisingly comfortable.
It's magic. You go into the room and your bed's set up, and then you leave for breakfast and it's gone, and they've set everything back up
That's
again.
right. That's right.
Yeah, that was kind of a magical experience. It's definitely something that I'm glad we did, for sure. I'm glad I experienced that.
That ryokan, if I remember right, has been there for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So it was just you really felt the weight of that history, and it's just a really special place to spend the night.
Yeah. My number two is the sake brewery Katayama Shuzo. That was exceeded all of my expectations. Sometimes the best things are the ones that you don't plan, right? We had no plan to go. I really wanted to see a sake brewery. It was just something, but it was hard to figure that out, like using the guidebooks and online research to find one that actually fit into our plans that we could actually visit, that wasn't like way out.
Yeah.
We weren't sure what we were going to do, like to go to Nikko for the day.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, they have sake breweries there. So I just sort of reached out to one, and the guy responded, said, yeah, just come on over or whatever. We were open, and it was a Sunday too. So I was like, had no hopes of any of this working out.
Right.
We didn't tell him what time either. We just showed up, and the guy was the owner, and he was, what was it, seventh generation
owner, yeah.
of this. And it was a very old building. I think it was like 160 years old or some. It was like a very old building, and he showed us the process, and obviously like English is not his language, and he made it work with
He had a little translator device.
このタンクに落ちると死んでしまいます。
If you fall into this tank, you will die.
ここね、はい。
And again, not having known what time we were going to be there, he dropped everything to give us and another.
And he was the owner, and he was very, very gracious and personable. And we have a wonderful bottle of sake that we're bringing back with us. That hopefully survives the trip. So yeah, Katayama Shuzo. That place is really great to visit. It's small, but it's I don't know. It was wonderful. We tried all the sakes. They were all very good.
Yeah. Okay, number ones. So my number one was one of Monique's earlier ones, so I won't belabor it, but the onsen in Hakone was exactly what we needed when we needed it, and a great experience.
My number one is the Japanese people.
Yes.
Because of all the places I have ever traveled, these people have been the most welcoming, the most wonderful, the most beautiful inside and out, most helpful. Just the random acts of kindness that I see just on a daily basis when you weren't. I saw so many people helping elderly people with their bags off trains. Just so many acts. Anytime we were lost, and people don't really speak English here because they don't. There's no reason to. But they do try, and they do help. But sometimes, we'll be lost, and they will they will leave the store that they're in and go and show us to the place to make sure that we get to where we want to be.
Right, that happened twice.
But just the people, I have never felt so welcomed, and we are bumbling Americans that don't speak any Japanese, and we've been trying, but we just didn't have time to learn any of the language, and somehow they made us feel like, it was a privilege to meet us. I've just never felt so much hospitality and welcomeness. They really do put an effort into everything, into making sure that, and anytime you compliment them, they are so gracious. It's like, oh, thank you so much. It's just, I've never experienced it before.
No, I found that inspiring. I want to take that attitude back to my real life. So, kudos to the Japanese people.
All right, honorable mentions.
Right, couldn't keep it to 5. So, my first honorable mention, the Shibuya street carts. We went to the AAA before we left to get our driver's permit. That was an errand worth doing because it let us, oh man, riding these low carts through the streets of Tokyo. Somehow they're street legal vehicles. It was scary at first, and I got used to it pretty quickly. And then it was just great fun trying to keep up with the guy ahead of me. And
You do all your honorable mentions together. 'Cause
okay.
I put all mine on mentions.
oh, okay,
So.
all right. My second honorable mention is the bar Centifolia in Tokyo. Kind of going back to what I said about taking hospitality seriously, this just took it to an extreme. The owner crafting cocktails with just such theatricality, the fire, the glitter, the presentation, even just his dramatic hand motions as he presents the drink. It was great.
That's funny. So my honorable mentions are very similar. Streetcar Tokyo, which is what he mentioned, running around like a little Mario streetcar. I was actually kind of nervous about it because I thought it was going to be kind of scary, but actually, maybe because of the time of day we went, it was a little bit calmer on the streets, but it was
Was mid-afternoon, and also Tokyo drivers are generally sane, so
yeah, there wasn't. I didn't see a lot of crazy driving. No one trying to. But I always hesitate to mention it because it's. I've heard that some of the people here do not actually like that. They are kind of mad about about the tourists doing that. So I'm not sure. Everybody did. I mean, I definitely saw some guys like waving and taking video of me in my Pikachu. So Pikachu outfit. So I'm not sure. And then I also had bar Centifolia in Tokyo because it was just such a cool experience. We were kind of tired. We had a full day in Nikko. It was the only day I can make a reservation for that. You have to make that fairly early to get like even a seat inside. And I couldn't even get a seat at the bar reservation, but we ended up being moved up anyway somehow. I think
for some reason.
Yeah, I think maybe people had left or something and they had space, so they just kind of moved us up, which was very, very, very nice. And we got to see the fire and the whole presentation and all the ices, and it was just a really fun experience. You can see the guy on Instagram, Bar Centifolia. He's got all this Instagram. I think everybody that was there found out about him through Instagram,
Yeah.
and I know that's how I found out about the place too. So my other one is is just public transportation in general. Has been fantastic. The way they number the stops, so you immediately know you're going the right way or the wrong way, or how many stops you have. They number the stops. Everything's written in English too, which is helpful for tourists like us.
Yeah.
It was always, we had one incident where our train was like 5 minutes late, and that was it the entire time. Everything runs like clockwork. You can predict the minute it comes.
Yep.
And I can't say anything. We were able to get anywhere.
Yeah.
We were even at Hakone, which is kind of in the country. Anywhere you can take a bus, train, like
Right. Even out there, the buses.
never needed a car.
Yeah. Yeah, it helped us do a lot more than we would have otherwise.
I'm
so.
sure there's places that you probably do need a car, like that's even further remote. We went to some pretty big touristy places, but still, the public transportation was top notch, and it was clean. I've never seen a subway car where you could eat off of it, or you could put your bag down. You're not like, ugh, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
It was really, really clean. Like, and the whole cities are clean. Osaka's a little bit.
Osaka is the least clean. Yeah.
So
I wouldn't even call it dirty. Just the least clean.
No, we saw litter. I was
a little bit of litter.
There's some litter over there, which is not. And I also put the Ryokan as an honorable mention because I thought it was an amazing experience. I just couldn't make it into my top 5. So those were all my honorable mentions. There's a lot. I mean, I could go through everything.
Yeah.
And everything would be a top-notch experience travel-wise.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, I'm not sure if I would come back because it's such a long flight, but I feel like I kind of have to come back.
Yeah. There's so much we didn't get to. So.
Well, I just, there was a lot that we didn't get to do everything. We didn't get to see every place. We only had 2 weeks, so we could only, do so much. But I can't say anything. I can't say enough nice things about this place.
I did not anticipate just how much enjoyment, fun I would have on this trip, and I can't wait to come back.
So, we'll be back at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right. Now we have to, thank God our flight isn't in 2 hours like you thought.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of time. We are pretty much packed up and yeah, so from Osaka back to Boston.
That's right.
Yeah. See ya.